What's going on, guys? Welcome to week number 11 of TPI Tuesdays. I'm Matt Santoro. I'm a doctor of physical therapy, as well as a TPI certified medical practitioner. Now today, on week 11, we're going to be talking about the ankles and the feet. So let's get started with our anatomy. Now there are three main bones that make up the ankle joint. We have the tibia, which is one of the shin bones. We have the fibula, it's another shin bone, and those together form what's called the mortise, or just an arc that the bone called the talus fits in. And that talus moves back and forth and partially side to side to move the ankle into four different directions. Now, there are 26 bones in the foot, broken down into three different segments. We have our hind foot, which is the heel, the midfoot, right in the middle, and then the forefoot, which comprises our toes. Now, there are lots of different groups of muscles in the ankle and the feet, but we'll break them down to some groups, make it a little bit easier to understand. We have the plantar flexor muscles, which are the back of our calf, back here. Those are going to be called the gastrocnemius and the soleus, and those work together to help point the toes down from the ankle. We have our dorsiflexion muscles, which bring the ankle up, bringing the toes to point towards the sky. That's going to be a muscle called the anterior tibialis. We have the inverter muscles, which roll the ankle in so that the bottom of our foot points up and towards the middle. Those are going to be things like the tibialis posterior muscle. And we have our everter muscles, which do an action called eversion, which brings our ankle out to the side so the bottom of the foot points away from midline. And those are going to be three different muscles called the peroneal muscles or the fibularis muscles. They're named after the fact that they sit next to the fibula on the outside of the shin. Now, there are also a lot of different muscles inside the foot that help create our arches. The longitudinal arch, the horizontal arch, and those are going to all act together with some of those other muscles that we just talked about that move the ankle side to side to give us that arch and that support. Now in the TPI screen, we're going to be looking at the ankle mainly in the overhead deep squat test. And you might be thinking, well, it's a squat, what does that have to do with the ankle? But the ankle is actually very important in performing a good squat all the way down to the deepest depth. Now, if someone's unable to perform the overhead deep squat test or the hands down deep squat test, which is a subset of the overhead deep squat, we're going to look at the ankle dorsiflexion test. And that's looking at whether or not the golfer or rotational athlete has enough dorsiflexion, which is bringing the toes up towards the sky, in order to make an adequate and efficient golf swing. So in the golf swing, the ankles and the feet are very important. They're going to allow us to maintain good golf posture. They're going to allow us to give a lot of information in the brain via proprioception, which we talked about last week. And they're also going to give a lot of information about weight shift in the backswing and then in the downswing. Now, in life, the feet are very important for effective ambulation or effective walking, which help to provide good momentum moving forward. If the ankles weren't able to move back and forth as efficiently as they do, we're going to waste a lot of energy. Additionally, the feet and the ankles provide a lot of proprioceptive information to the brain while we're walking and moving, and they help to keep us standing and give us a lot of support by using those arches in the foot. Now, some inadequacies that we can see in the golf swing as a result of poor ankle stability or poor ankle mobility would be things that we would see with the overhead deep squat test, things like early extension or loss of posture. In life, some difficulties that we can see as a result of poor ankle mobility will be things like difficulty walking, difficulty balancing, things like that. So I'm going to go get changed. We're going to talk about two different ways that you guys can help improve your ankle mobility. I'll see you soon. Alright guys, welcome back to the fixes component for the ankle and foot video. Now these two activities that we're going to do, we're going to require some equipment. Some that you guys may have at home and others that you might have to go to the gym for. The one that we're going to do at home is a stretch to address some of the muscles in the back of the lower leg. Now those muscles are the plantar flexors. They bring the foot down so the toes point down into the ground. And they, if they're tight, might limit some of the dorsiflexion motion, bringing the toes up towards the ceiling. So what we can do to address that limitation would be to go up onto a step, allowing our heels to stay off. And while you do this, I want you to hold on to something for a little bit of extra balance. So we have our midfoot on the step as well as the forefoot. Our hind foot is off. And keeping the knees straight, all you're going to do is drop down so the heels are going to be under the step. You can hold this for 30 seconds and then take a step off entirely. Now that addresses one of the two muscles that we have in the back of your lower leg. To address the other muscle, all you have to do is bend the knees. So our setup is going to be the same. Up onto the step, holding on for a little bit of extra balance. We're going to bend the knees and then allow the rear foot or hind foot to drop down below the level of the step. Hold for 30 seconds and then take a step off. Each of those stretches you're going to perform for 3 sets, 30 seconds. And that might help to increase your dorsiflexion range of motion if you have a muscular restriction. There are also times where people have a bony restriction, so we're going to address that a little bit differently. And this is going to be one that you may need some equipment for. If you go to a gym and they have pull-up assist bands, you're going to be able to do this one pretty readily. What we're going to do, we're going to take another step. We're going to attach the pull-up assist band to a rack or to another piece of equipment. We're going to pull that band back and step through with the foot that we're going to try to increase the range of motion for. So I'll step through with my my left foot. My right foot stays on the ground. Now for the position of the band, I want it to be just above or on those 2 bumps on either side of the ankle. With my foot on the step, I'm going to make sure my heel stays down the entire time. And I'm going to lunge forward, bringing my knee right over the toes. Hold that for 5 seconds, and then come on up and repeat 20 times. The knee tracks over the toes, hold for 5, and then come on up. When you're done, allow yourself to step forward so there's no resistance on the band, and take a step off. That's going to address the limitation for the bones. So now we've addressed the muscular limitation and the bony limitations, thus increasing your ankle dorsiflexion or your toes pointing up towards the ceiling. Try those 2 at home. Let us know how it goes. As always, if you have a comment, you can leave it in the box down below. We'll get back to you as soon as we can. Or just give us a call. Our phone number is 732-720-2566. I'll see you guys next week on TPI Tuesday.